variety pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.
Hello.
It's great to see you as always. And with daylight savings, I'm really noticing, pardon me, a difference in light in my kitchen. So we have the ring light up. There's still some light in the back. And it kind of reminds me that summer's on the way, but it also makes me think that we're kind of living a Groundhog Day sort of situation right now, because St. Patrick's Day just passed and it reminded me that I could not go out and celebrate with my friends yet again. Are you feeling a bit of Groundhog Day, I guess, syndrome right now, Deepi?
I mean, always. I feel like every day is Groundhog Day.
Fair.
But I'm in such better spirits now that we're having longer days, the weather's getting nicer. So, I mean, that's something to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor?
Well, it's funny because on my Instagram, all of a sudden it said, here's a memory. And it was like, sweet mother of God, what the hell happened to my hair? And so I don't think it's Groundhog Day at all, because every day I go, who the hell's that in the mirror? Like my hair is getting longer and I'm getting really used to not doing anything. So I don't know. I think I'm actually having a pretty good time.
Fair enough. I don't want to go too off topic, but next week will be our 1 year anniversary of the show, which is pretty crazy. So we're going to bring on one of our original co-hosts to talk, but I was looking at old pictures of myself too, and I look a little bit thinner last year and a lot more tan. So I feel like maybe that will happen to me again in a couple weeks. That's fingers.
All right, switching gears a bit. So a couple days ago, I was craving a pound cake. I'm talking like the old school Sara Lee's 1990s, super dense, super rich, super buttery cake. And yeah, so I just ended up making one, and it honestly hit the spot. So my question to you guys is, have you ever craved something and then just ended up trying to recreate, like make it? Mayor, let's start with you.
Yeah, so, I don't know if you guys remember, but my oven broke, I don't know, about 4 months ago. And as soon as it broke, I started craving a lemon cake. And I couldn't make it because I had like this little toaster oven that you couldn't really bake and it doesn't work. Anyway, so as soon as I got my new stove, it was right around when my birthday was. So I made myself chocolate cupcakes and a lemon cake. And it was wonderful. It was beyond fabulous. I mixed a lemon curd and buttercream icing, and it was like, mwah!
Wait, you shouldn't be making your own birthday cake.
Yeah. Oh, I always do.
And
do you?
Yeah.
Own birthday cake, buy your own balloons. We don't even acknowledge it. It's just a tough birthday all around for Mairlyn Smith. I'll get over that one day, I'm sure. Anyway, what do I like to cook at home? I get cravings for certain foods all the time, and I would say one thing that I really like to make myself. Nice bolognese.
That sounds good. Okay, so Easter's almost here, and I just realized I never turned my lights on, so I look weird. Anyway, who cares? So Easter's around the corner. It's really close, and I just did a virtual whiskey tasting, and so I may or may not be lit. Anyway, and the
Cheers,
the guy who was leading it was saying that, whiskey pairs really well with a carrot cake with cream cheese icing and orange zest. And now I don't care about Easter dinner. I am just going to make that frickin' cake. So are you guys going to do anything?
DP, go first.
I mean, we don't really celebrate Easter, but you just reminded me, Mayor, I need to buy a fuck ton of Easter eggs and bake some cookies with them. Like those chocolate Easter eggs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that cake sounds amazing. I might have to get the recipe from you and make it.
I will say for me, I'll take any reason to cook a big dinner for people. And again, we can't have people into our houses yet, but when we can, maybe by Easter, that might actually be possible in Alberta. So I would happily cook for friends if I could. But outside of that, one thing I get excited about during Easter is all of the interesting chocolate creations that come up all across Canada. There's so many chocolatiers across Canada making amazing, amazing things. There's this one bakery / chocolate shop in Vancouver called Boku Bakery that has this whole line of dinosaur egg themed Easter chocolates where you can even get a little hammer and crack open the eggs and there's like mini dinosaurs inside. And I love that sort of creativity.
Oh my God, that sounds awesome.
Right?
I want to get a little hammer and bust the egg. Yeah.
Right?
I'm not liking the fact that you guys might be open in April. Ugh, I'm so jealous.
Oh yeah. No, we hate you here in Ontario.
Here.
On behalf of all of Ontario, Deepi and I would like to say to you.
Thank you. Cheers to that.
Well, my love of Ontario runs deep, and I'm drinking Rebel cider out of Ontario, one of the best ciders in the country. So hopefully Ontario won't hate me forever.
Hopefully.
I think that means it's time to bring on, I don't know what that means, but we're going to bring on our first guest. He is an activist, a forager, a world traveler. Most importantly, one of the most important things he does is he's the current co-host of Moosemeat and Marmalade, which is a show on APTN, a really fascinating look at just food cultures across the globe. His name is Art Napoleon, and we're going to play a little sizzle reel of season 5 of Moosemeat and Marmalade, which is airing right now, and then we're going to have a quick chat with him.
Got my migratory game permit. I'm the widest guy here.
Fresh pollock. Basketball was never one of my things. Lightning all around you, holding a big stick. Nothing could go wrong. Overeat, overdrink, have fun. Art's like a child, so if you don't give a child a candy, you're fine.
This stuff's so damn good I'd lick it off a moose's ass.
I shouldn't have let him have a bite, should I?
Art, thank you so much for being on the show with us today. We're happy to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
So you're now in season 5 of Moosemeat and Marmalade. You know, you co-hosted with Dan Hayes, who's a chef and owner of a cooking school in Victoria, the London Chef. How has your relationship as co-hosts improved over the 5 seasons? Because I know we've been doing this show for a year, and I think Mairlyn and I can almost finish each other's sentences sometimes.
Well, what makes you think it's improved? There's a little bit of a delay here. My lips are moving way after the audio. Is that normal?
Yeah, well, you know, it's a live stream world these days, so we'll just go with it.
All right. Okay. I'll do my best to adjust.
Okay.
It might match my dementia. Actually, we've probably become a little closer. We spent more time when we're not filming. We spent a little more time in the woods. We spent some time hunting together, and yeah, he's become a friend in real life.
Mm-hmm. That's great to hear. And so this current season, which
we have,
pardon
we
me?
have the most fun when we're filming on set. It's kind of a getaway for both of us, or we get to let go of our other worries and just be hosts.
I can imagine. How long does it take to film a season from start to finish? Because you do hop around a lot, like geographically.
Well, as with any production company doing a 13-part series that's ongoing, there's the pre-production. The production is the filming, and then there's the post-production where you do all your editing, color correcting, language versioning, closed captioning. It seems to go on, and that whole process takes about a year.
Wow.
All right. My question to you is, hi, Art. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
My question to you is, from all your travels, what were you most surprised about to learn that was either something similar or different between Indigenous cultures around the world? Like, was there commonality, or was there something super different that you were just shocked to learn?
There's always commonality, especially when it comes to food. There are certain gestures, like somebody getting kicked in the knackers. Everyone reacts the same way. And when it comes to food, something that tastes good, you see the expression on people's faces. The comments are probably going to be similar. And so I think food is a good way of bringing cultures together in a non-threatening way, a fun way.
Right. And from all your travels, what would you say is the coolest cooking tip that you picked up?
Oh my goodness. I that's a tough one to answer, because we've done 5 seasons, 13 episodes a season. One season starts to run into the next. And each one has its own charm. So
that sticks out in your mind.
We had bull testicles in a Spanish bullfighting ring. So that's unique. We've had raccoon, we've had moose colon, that's the stuff
Wow.
that we were cooking. And yeah, insects of various types.
Right.
I was intrigued when we were sort of chatting before the show started, and I was intrigued. What you said a couple things that really got me, and one of them is foraging. So if I was lost in the forest, I would probably starve to death because I would be terrified to try to eat a mushroom because I thought it would be poisonous. So you've obviously learned a lot of things that you should or you shouldn't be eating. So if you were in, I guess you'd have to be wherever you're living, like if you went into the forest, what would you be looking for to eat to survive?
Yeah, this is the thing that people tend to forget about Canada. Not only is it diverse in Indigenous cultures, it's very, very diverse geographically. And I was raised in the Northern Rockies, so up in close to the Alpine or the Rocky Mountains, and also the prairies are nearby. And essentially, we're in the boreal forest. So in that region, you're going to have different plants and different animals. I'm on Vancouver Island right now. It's very, very different. I've had to start from kindergarten to get myself accustomed to the local plants here.
That's interesting because I'm originally from Vancouver, and Vancouver Island was always sort of like another country compared to the mainland. So I know what you're talking about. Okay, my other question is still to do with foraging. You're drinking this really interesting mushroom tea, and I would love that you would share that enormous. It looks like a burl, from a tree, but it's a mushroom. So please tell our listeners, because I'm fascinated. I want to try this.
That is a good description. It is like a burl. In fact, chaga mushroom. They call it a mushroom, but it's actually really, really hard. You have to pry it off with an axe or a machete or something, and it grows on a certain birch tree, usually old birch trees. It usually sits up high. So those trees also grow other funguses that sit lower, and some people are going to get mixed up and pick that thinking they've got some chaga, but no, that's not chaga. You got to work for chaga, and it's worth it. Then you take it home, dry it for a couple days or so, and let it cure. Break it up into smaller pieces. You boil it up with some water until the water changes color. Low boil, maybe an hour, and then you've pulled out the medicinal qualities right from that chaga. It's now in your liquid, and I have it with my coffee, and it's amazing stuff. It's one of the high antioxidant plants known on Earth. It's now being used for cancer research because it has anti-carcinogenic properties, and I've met cancer patients who have gone into remission. They attribute it to chaga. But the sad thing is, once this information gets out, people might start over harvesting. So I'm not giving away my secret spots.
No, don't. And the other thing is that I think in the North American culture, we think, if one's good, 400 is better. So, like the dose is in probably small amounts. So yeah, do not tell where we're getting it. But I love the idea that food is medicine, and indigenously, that people have lived for centuries on the foods that they eat because of the medicinal qualities. So I'm always been fascinated about that.
Yeah, that's true. And even in my own community, when I was younger, the elders that I was raised with, they're all gone now, because now I'm starting to be a darn elder. I don't like admitting it, but soon I will be referred to as one. And those elders all lived to a ripe old age, and they remained active into their 80s and 90s. Some were still hunting, some were still trapping, some were still tanning hides in their 80s. And these are people that didn't adjust to Western foods. They were still eating largely the traditional diet. Wild game from the land, berries, and maybe a few vegetables from the garden. To eat like a non-native person from town was like once or twice a year a little treat. And so they grew up on the traditional diet, and they were healthy and lived long. I think our bodies were accustomed to that from generations and generations of eating this way.
No, I agree. Dan?
One thing that's really interesting about Moosemeat and Marmalade, there aren't a lot of TV shows in Canada or beyond that really shine a light on Indigenous food cultures, be it in Canada or beyond. And you hear a lot of conversation about the word Canadian as opposed to Indigenous. And when it comes down to ingredients, like I know this season you go to Sugar Shack in Quebec, whereas do you find that people in Quebec would first recognize maple syrup as a Quebecois ingredient when in fact it actually is an Indigenous ingredient?
I think it depends on who you talk to. The Chikreri guy we went to see absolutely knew that, and he honored it, and he mentioned it up front.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so happy to have us there because that connection for him was important, even though he's not Indigenous. He really wanted to honor the fact that the birch and the systems of cooking and using birch was introduced by probably Ojibways or Hurons or somebody from Eastern Canada there that were always big on that.
And as a quick aside, I've met that gentleman as well. Doesn't he look a bit like Santa Claus?
He absolutely looks like Santa Claus, and he's a real character. He made me laugh a lot. We made each other laugh a lot, so we clicked.
Well, I mean, that's all we can do these days is laugh sometimes, right? But anyway, Art, it's been really great having you on the show, and congratulations on season 5 of Moosemeat and Marmalade. We hope that there's season 6, 7, and up to 1 million if you want them.
Thank you very much.
All right, cheers. Thanks so much.
Take good care.
Cheers.
Everybody.
Bye.
Up your chaga tea.
Yes. AKA Satter. That was a great conversation.
I had no idea that maple syrup was an Indigenous ingredient, so you just taught me something.
There you go. Learn something new every week here at Eat North Variety Pack. But it's wild. We just had a story on eatnorth.com recently about last year, despite the pandemic and whatnot, Quebec maple producers actually had a record-breaking year in production and sales. So I think people obviously associate maple syrup with Canada, but I don't know if people really realize how much of the world's supply of maple syrup we actually make. It's a vast amount. It's a large percentage of it.
I wonder whether or not they use so much maple syrup because there was all that therapy baking, and there might have been a big, onslaught of let's have pancakes every day.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, talk to Dan Clapson early April last year. He might just be drinking maple syrup just to get through the days.
I think there's maple syrup in this cocktail. I honestly Yeah, and you know what? I know I disappeared, but I forgot to put my lights on because I'm drunk. Anyway, all right, we'll just go with that.
Well, that's a perfect segue to bring on our next guest. He is a award-winning, country singer from Ontario. His name is Aaron Allen, and we're going to play an acoustic song by him and have a little chat with him.
Yeah, I'll chat.
Hi, I'm Aaron Allen, and I'm wearing a leather jacket in my basement. But this is my song, Where Music Comes From. You got $1, I got a jukebox. Let's get the song, singing along. If you got a record, I got one better. Hand me that guitar, play you a song. It's 4 chords, someone sing a melody. It's a throwback to the way it used to be. It's a lyric, it's a line. Take you back in time to the soundtrack of you and I. It's in my bones, it's in my blood. It's that sound growing up. Feel it deep down in my soul. Yeah, that's life coming through the stereo. It's that needle on my vinyl. Get you every time, get your heart beating like a drum. That's where music comes from. Remember that old jam that you were spinning? I was too busy running red lights. Life is a highway, and it had me driving way too fast to get you home on time. It's in my bones, it's in my blood. It's that sound growing up. Feel it deep down in my soul. Yeah, that's life coming to the stereo. It's that needle on a vinyl. Get you every time, get your heart beating like a drum. That's where music comes from. That's where music comes from. Oh, yeah. from those 12 notes. It's in my bones, it's in my blood. It's that sound of growing up. I feel it deep down in my soul. Yeah, that's life coming through the stereo. It's that needle on a vinyl, get you every time, get your heart beating like a drum. That's where music comes from. Oh, that's where music comes from. That's where music comes from.
And why not, really?
Yeah, it felt kind of silly, but I had to look the part, right? No matter where I am.
Yeah, totally. So I know last year you were awarded the Rising Star Award for the Country Music Association of Ontario, and those awards are one of the few award systems that could actually have some sort of actual gathering. So do you want to talk about that, what that was like? Because I'm sure people are probably jealous to go to any kind of event.
Oh, it was pretty amazing. It was all kind of a drive-in setting. So
Right.
actually when I received my award, instead of applause, it was people honking their horns like crazy. So kind of cool. I had always I've been in this game for 20 some odd years. I always imagined what it would be like to win an award and be up there and have people applauding for me. I never thought they'd be honking. It was great though.
I love that. It's not something you'll soon forget, I assume.
No, it was great.
So, Aaron, my question isn't related to country music, but more about your tattoos. So, you're a former tattoo artist. Do you have any tattoos that you regret having or giving?
No.
Or giving? That's a big question.
You know, when you first start out, there's a couple that I'd probably want to take back. You know, there's a few unfortunate souls out there, but I got to learn, and I have some bad ones on me. I've been the practice dummy lots of times.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you ever consider getting them removed? Because I hear that's super painful.
No, I don't like pain. So the fact that I even have them on me is, I've seen the laser thing. My brother's had it done on his neck, and oh, no, thank you. No.
Okay, so
I'll stick with it.
When did you know that you wanted to be a musician? Like, you know, I knew I wanted to be an actor at 9. So when did you know that, like, this is my dream?
Well, I'm not sure if I knew it. I knew it when I was a kid, but it was kind of circumstances that brought me there. The world just told me this is what I was doing. And I kind of used songwriting as therapy when I was a kid. And I didn't notice it until I was 30 something. But now I just can't stop. If I stop for a while, I notice I'm grouchy. You know, it's my therapy. So that's what kind of got me into it. And I've tried to let it go a lot over the years because, you know, you guys know being in the business, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, sticking it out and things are working nowadays. And I'm stoked that we stuck it out. So pretty excited.
Well, last year you had your EP, Highway Mile, that did quite well. And then now you have your latest single, A Good Place to Start, also doing fairly well. Do you have anything else planned for this year?
Oh, for sure. We always have songs ready to go. We have songs produced, done. You know, sometimes it's just a timing game. You got to let your song run out at radio. So I think we should be coming up, you know, in a couple months with something new. I have maybe another record coming out this year, I hope. We'll see.
Everything still feels a bit up in the air with most industries, so I appreciate that for sure. I just want to say before we let you go, one thing that I love about your voice, we talk about it sometimes on the show, but you know, there's a lot of country songs out there, a lot of country singers, and sometimes when certain people are singing certain songs, I don't get the believability factor, and I feel like your voice is just so like pure and genuine that I feel like anything you're singing about, I think it's easy to connect to. And I don't know if like it's hard to explain from a, I guess, artist standpoint how you come to sing that way, but does that style of singing just come naturally to you?
Yeah, if I could change it, I probably would.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, I'm either too whiny or too people. I get Willie Nelson a lot. You kind of sound like Willie Nelson. So, you know, I was singing in the studio. I remember my producer, Jeff Dalziel, we're side by side, and I was singing a song called Mine All Mine. And I go, I really sound really whiny like Neil Young there. And he just looked at me and was like, you know, is that so bad? Just sing the song. But I'm the worst critic on myself, right? Like when people say that, I'm always surprised. Trust me. But so thank you.
Yeah, no, right. And we mean that. Yeah, you sound like Aaron Allen to us, and we goddamn like it. So.
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, can I just ask him one more question?
Yeah, for sure.
And this, Aaron, is only because I've been drinking. Do you have a favorite cocktail as a parting comment?
Oh man, a favorite cocktail. Well, if you ask my wife, I had one too many cocktails over the years. So I actually stopped drinking a while ago.
Oh.
Wow.
But I really love Partake non-alcoholic beer.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff.
That is my favorite drink. I drink that. I don't need water anymore. I just drink Partake.
It's a great.
Where
There's
can
actually
I get some of that?
yeah,
can get
it's a
that
Calgary-based
at the
company
liquor
actually,
store.
so it's good. Go Calgary.
Yeah, the LCBO?
Yeah, that's where I found it at. It's at the LCBO, and it tastes like real beer and doesn't turn me into a jerk, so it's good.
And that seems like a perfect note to leave off on. Aaron Allen, thank you so much for the song and chatting with us. It's a ton of fun, and you're very, very talented. Can't wait to see what you do this year.
Oh, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Tons of fun. And thank you to my lovely co-host, Mairlyn Smith, Deepi Harish. This has been another episode of Eat North Variety Pack. We'll be back here at the same time, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time next Thursday. See you next week.
Bye.
Eat North Variety Pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.